Hey guys, it is Jimmy with Swiss Realty here, and we are back with another video. And in today's video, we're going to go over a question that I've gotten very, very often. And that question is, how should I set up my legal entity when it comes to buying out of state real estate? So, really quickly, just introduce myself. My name is Jimmy with Swiss Realty here. I am an investor agent here. I help investors find the next buy and hold, BRRRR, flip, or short-term, mid-term rental here in Columbus, Ohio. I've done well over 20 million in terms of real estate sales. So again, I would love to kind of answer this question and kind of dive deeper into it as well too. And in this question, a lot of times, a lot of investors will ask me, should I buy it in my personal name or should I buy it in my LLC? And so we're going to go, dive a lot deeper into this question, kind of go over the pros and cons of each of these options as well too. So what I will let you know is, first, when it comes to this question, whether you should buy in your personal name or in your LLC, it first depends on what type of financing that you are going to go with. If you are, I would say, the bulk majority of my client, which is most of them are Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac in this case. So what that means is Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, those are government sponsored loans. So what that means is it's like the VA program, the FHA, conventional financing. If it's one of those traditional types of financing in this case, then you will typically have to close in your personal name. And again, most of my clients, especially those that invest out of state from other states like California, New York, New Jersey, stuff like that, they typically do go with conventional financing. So if this does sound like you in this case, you typically will have to close in your personal name. And again, it's just like a Fannie Mae slash Freddie Mac rule. So just a FYI on that. However, if you are going to go with a non-QM loan, something as like DSCR or a hard money loan, or you're buying it cash in this situation, you can close it in any entity that you want. It could be your personal name, it could be your LLC. It doesn't matter. The reason why is because again, it's not a government sponsored program. It's typically going to be the bank, or it's going to be on their own bank, on their own statements, or it's going to be other types of financing, but it's not the government. So because of that, you can close it in your personal name or your LLC. It doesn't matter in that situation. So first thing I would say would have to answer is, first, how are you going to finance this real estate purchase? Is it going to be with a Fannie Mae slash Freddie Mac loan, or is it with a non-QM or cash purchase? Then after that, we can kind of decide on what type of financing we or what type of legal entity we can kind of buy the property with. So what I will let you know is, and again, the bulk majority of my clients, they typically are Fannie Mae slash Freddie Mac. So the thing is, I know earlier, just a second ago, I mentioned that, hey, if you're going to go with Fannie Mae slash Freddie Mac, you have to typically close the property in your personal name. You cannot close it in the LLC. However, there is a bit of a loophole with this. What I will let you know, and I've done this with many of my other investor clients, and you can 100% do this as well too, is you can close on the property in your personal name, and immediately after you close on it in your personal name, you just have that same title company switch the deed immediately. So the second that you close on the property in your personal name, you immediately have them switch the deed to your LLC right immediately after close. Again, this is a very easy, it's like essentially like a quick claim deed. It's a very easy process. It's not something that's going to cost you thousands of dollars. I've seen it done very, very often with some of my other investor clients. You're typically looking at $50, $100, but essentially it could be done. The only thing, and again, just to clarify a little bit, is that you just have to close it in your personal name. But after you close it in your personal name, you can move it to the LLC immediately afterwards, which again, the title company that we use, we could absolutely help with that. And again, I can help with that. Again, I've done this process many, many times. So again, there's a little bit of a loophole. It's just that it would just have to be done after closing in that case. So that's what I would recommend if you are going to go Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. So another thing I get asked many, many times, especially when it comes to like my investor clients in this case, is, do I need to start an LLC before I buy or invest out of state in this case, or just invest in real estate in this situation? And my answer to this, and again, I've seen this many, many times, is absolutely not. So opening an LLC here, again, I can only speak for Columbus, Ohio. I can't speak for obviously other real estate markets, but here in Columbus, Ohio, opening an LLC is super, super simple. It will take typically 2 to 3 days at the very, very most to get your LLC set up, to get your EIN number. It's super, super simple to do it. Literally, an 18-year-old can do it. And I've opened multiple LLCs here in Columbus, Ohio. So again, it's a very easy and simple process. I would say a lot of investors that I talk to, they get very easily stressed out about the LLCs and the legal entity structure, and that takes a overwhelming amount of time, out of their day. What I will let you know, and this is what I tell a lot of my investor clients, is first, let's get under contract on a property first. Like even before even thinking about the LLC and the legal entity and all that stuff, like first get a property under contract first, and then let's set up the LLC afterwards, which if you need, I'm happy to hold your hand. I'm happy to consult and walk you through the entire process. I've done it hundreds of times with other clients as well too. But what I will let you know too is, again, it's something that you only need to really start thinking about after you close on the property, especially if you're going to go with a non-QM loan or a cash purchase in this case. Obviously, you can set up the LLC after you get under contract. It's not something that you have to do immediately, before you even get under contract. Again, it's not something you should stress out about. Again, it should be just one of those things that once you get under contract, that's really when you should start the process. And again, it's going to take 2 to 3 days at the very, very most. Also, once we go under contract as well too, we could also do an addendum. So essentially, even though in the purchase contract we write that we're going to close it in your personal name, we could do an addendum that says that, hey, we're going to switch it to your LLC in this case instead as well too. So again, we could do that at any time once we're under contract. So you're not locked into what's it called, closing in your personal name. We could always do an addendum to switch it to your LLC once we go under contract as well too. Obviously, if it's a non-QM loan or you're buying it cash in the situation. And the last thing I'll hit on as well too is that when it comes to LLCs, a lot of people think that LLCs are completely necessary and you have to have an LLC when it comes to buying real estate. So what I will let you know is that if you have a single member LLC, again, I'm not a legal attorney. Again, this is not a legal advice in any way or shape or form, but I will let you know that, again, having talked to so many attorneys, typically the advice I've received is that when it comes to having single member LLCs, it's no different than buying it in your personal name most of the time. The reason why is because those single member LLCs can be pierced through very easily in a legal way. And again, if they see that it's a single member LLC, they're like, hey, obviously it's the same thing as them buying it in their personal name. So it doesn't make too much of a difference, obviously. Obviously, if you want to, separate and organize things as much as possible, definitely have an LLC. It's really, there's no black or white answer. I've had many clients close investment deals in their personal names. I've had a lot of clients close it in their LLC. So it's really up to you. But again, there's no black and white answer. It's just whatever you feel most comfortable with. But aside from that, again, just to recap off real quick, is that whatever it is, if you are looking to start getting, invested in real estate, don't get stressed out when it comes to legal entity stuff and LLCs and all that stuff. First, let's get under contract, and then after that, we'll start worrying about that after we get under contract on the property. Is my best advice in that case. So aside from that, that is pretty much the video today. It's just to give you guys a rundown on, legal entity structure, how we can kind of do it. And again, just to give you my advice where, again, don't stress out about it. Let's get under contract on something first. So aside from that, just to, let you guys know, my name is Jimmy with Swiss Realty. I help investors buy their next buy and hold, BRRRR, flip, or short-term, midterm rental here in the Columbus, Ohio area. I've done over 20 million in terms of real estate sales. And again, if that's what you're looking for and you're looking for your next investment property, I would love to help with that. So feel free to, reach out to me directly. But aside from that, if you have any questions or anything comes up, feel free to comment on this video, reach out to me directly. I would love to help with anything that comes up. So yeah, thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate it. See ya. Bye.